Hi, my name is Brad and thanks for clicking on my video. I'm a hobbyist photographer and video maker, and today I'm going to be talking about the Canon M5 and why I love it so much. So let's have a brief overview of a Canon M5. The camera was released in 2016 and on paper it's equivalent of a Canon 80D DSLR camera. The only difference is this is a mirrorless camera. It doesn't have a mirror like a DSLR camera does. If you compare it to its DSLR equivalent, here I've got a Canon 90D and here is a Canon M5. You can see it's significantly smaller and significantly lighter. It has 49 dual pixel autofocus points. It has a 24 megapixel sensor. It has 9 frames per second continuous shooting and a 3-inch touchscreen. A few reasons why an 80D might be a better option than the Canon M5 is one, the 80D was weather sealed and the 80D had a fully articulating screen. While the Canon M5 doesn't have a fully articulating screen, it allows you to drop the screen below the camera or alternatively view your photos or video in this arrangement. I do like the camera's electric viewfinder. It's not as nice as an optical viewfinder, but it's still very good. I love that you've got dials there that can change the aperture, shutter speed and ISO very quickly and easily, and it's got a nice mode dial as well. The camera feels really well built, but at the same time it's very light and mobile. Now, being that this is a Canon M mount camera, that means that you need to use M mount lenses, but there is a workaround that. You can buy adapters that allow you to use your Canon EF mount lenses and EFS mount lenses on a M mount body like this. So you can buy adapters such as this Viltrox adapter. This Viltrox adapter will allow you to mount something like some of your old Canon L glass or some of your old STM prime lenses. So this is grouse. We've got a camera that's half the weight, half the size of an 80D. We can use all of our EF mount lenses and all of our EFS mount lenses, and we're getting picture quality that's on par with an 80D. We're getting autofocus on par with an 80D. Like, what's a downside? Well, I guess you could argue that the downside is Canon doesn't support M mount cameras anymore. Now they're focusing directly on their R mount series of cameras. The other thing we need to consider is this camera is from 2016, right? So it's 10 years old now. So the autofocus technology in this camera isn't anywhere near as good as some of the newer Sony cameras. I've never owned an 80D, but I have owned a 70D and I have owned a 90D. Now in comparison to a 70D and a 90D, I'd say that the autofocus system in this is honestly as good as the autofocus is in a 90D. As far as image quality is concerned, in comparison to a 90D, well, the 90D's got a 33 megapixel APS-C sensor. Well, this has only got a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor. Now, what does that mean? I can definitely crop and zoom in more in post in my 90D photos because I have that extra 9 megapixels to play around with, which allows me to crop in my photos a lot more. If I get a composition wrong or I don't like the way something's composed, I have more adjustment to allow me to change that. But there is a big downside with the 90D and the 33 megapixel APS-C sensor. If your lenses are not sharp, like if you put an average USM lens on it, the 33 megapixels will be very unfavorable to that image. Like you will see all the defects, but you can kind of get away with that on the 24 megapixel sensor. So that's why sometimes you're actually better off having a lower resolution sensor, a lower megapixel sensor, because it can hide some of your mistakes, if that made any kind of sense at all. So we can talk about specs all day, but let's actually have a look at some of the photos that this camera's taken. Now predominantly, I've got to be honest, I shoot in JPEG, I don't shoot in RAW. I do shoot in RAW on occasion, but 90% of the time I'm very time poor and I just need to get a photo out. Now, what sort of photography have I done with this camera? So I've taken some headshots of myself. I've done some landscape photography. I've done street photography. And I've also done a little bit of product photography as well. Thanks for sticking around and watching my video. So I hope you've learned something from this video about the Canon M5, and I hope I've sort of shown you some good aspects about it, maybe some bad aspects about it, but all in all, it is a really great camera. And if you don't want to have the weight of a DSLR and you want something smaller and you want something lighter and you want to use it mainly for street photography, this is a great camera, honestly, and it's inexpensive as well. I purchased this secondhand from Ted's. I'm here in Australia, $300. That's what this camera cost me, and I think for $300 that's an amazing value for what you're getting. You can also follow me on Instagram at b_real_able_dreamer. I post on there frequently. I love my photography. I'm always posting, I'm always out every weekend, trying to get photos of something. I do a bit of everything. Thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.